Hi, Bridie. How are you?
Hi, Wanda. I'm doing really well. Hello to everyone watching this.
Yes. Can we see if we've given people enough?
How are you? Hi, Wanda. I'm doing really well. Hello to everyone watching this.
All right. I have to
Yes,
log off
can we
somewhere.
see? I think it's the YouTube that's playing. So if you open up the tab where your YouTube is, I think you just need to mute that. I think it's the YouTube that's playing. So if you
Okay.
You did it. Well done.
Sorry about that. I have had a few technical issues today. And Bridie, I do not have that page I was going to use for today.
Okay,
I
all
printed
right.
the wrong page, so
Don't
I'm
you
sure
worry.
we'll be fine.
We'll be fine. We've got this. We're a good team. We'll figure it out.
Right. Can you tell how many people are joining us and if it looks like we're good to start? Because I
Uh,
can't.
I cannot tell right now. Um, um,
I see a
so,
few
oh,
questions.
I see under the comments on the top right, there's some people that are saying hello. And we can see they're from YouTube. They're from YouTube. So I see Plant-Based Dallas and
Yes.
Susan Bodena are here. So that's very nice. We've got a couple of people joining us, so that's great.
So I see that, oh, thank you, Kathy. I see it says 15. And I see that Plant-Based Dallas is asking if they should use the YouTube link, but you said they're on. It's good.
Use the YouTube link, Plant-Based Dallas. Yes.
All right. I am. And maybe we can put, well, if they're seeing the comments, they're in the YouTube link. Is that correct?
I think so. I'm not
Yeah.
so familiar with this platform, but I think so. I can see the YouTube logo there, so that's what makes me say they're from YouTube, but I don't know for sure.
All right. Well, I think we can get going. And then, hi, Julian and Donna, and Kathy and Sue. And I should know the names of Plant-Based Dallas. I do. You should tell me because I'm just drawing a blank. It's been a stressful technical 10 minutes. So I apologize. But why don't we get going? And if we miss somebody, it's all going to be recorded and they'll be able to catch up with us.
Absolutely. So, in case you don't have your paper, Wanda, I think you were going to speak to this first slide.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to let Bridie prompt me because I had my cheat sheet notes that are not with me. So it's either my memory or Bridie, but I know we're all amongst friends, and that's the beauty of this travel is it's laid back. We're friends. There's no need to worry about perfection. Um, Bridie will create, and Seb will create perfection with pulling off the event in its entirety, but as far as the group, we're amongst friends. It's a small group of friends and it's very casual. This first group shows, this first slide shows some of the group from last year. And for those who've traveled with us or know me, I typically, well, I have never gone back to the same place twice. But traveling with World Vegan Travel, we travel with small groups around a 20-person mark. And so that means that there's many of us that want to go to these places and can't. And this Agrivilla and the place we stayed and the sights we saw and the food we prepared, it was all so extraordinary that I couldn't help but say we should give another group of NHA members a chance. So we are going back to the same place in 2025. I doubt that we will repeat this for a few years. There's so many great places that we want to travel together. So there are a few spots left. I think we have 3 rooms remaining that can hold up to 6 people. So if you're interested, we'll talk about that later in the slide, but rest assured it is a great week of fun, community, beautiful sights, and unbelievable food that is mostly farm to table.
I don't want to cut you off. Is that next slide?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
All right, and I'm turning it over to Bridie. I'm going to take a minute for NHA members that have not met Bridie. She and I have become quick friends. She was a joy to travel with. Bridie is a co-owner with her partner Seb in World Vegan Travel. And World Vegan Travel is working with the places that they have extreme expertise in. And we are only traveling to places where they assure us they can do not only whole food, plant-based, but salt, oil, sugar-free. And the Agrivilla we stayed at in Tuscany, as well as the other places we visited, did it well beyond any expectations. So I'll let Bridie talk about this slide and more.
Thank you, Wanda. Okay, so I'll introduce myself properly and my partner Seb in a couple of slides, but my name is Bridie. I realise it is a very tricky name when you see it written down, so it's okay to mess it up a few times. I'm fine with that, but we're going to introduce Seb and I, and also, you know, Wanda, for maybe there's some people on here that haven't travelled with Wanda and Marq before. And we're going to dig a little bit into like why the NHA decided they wanted to go to Tuscany again. I don't blame them because it's such a lovely trip and a lovely place. And also the purposes of this webinar is to show you what you can expect when you come on this trip, what's included. And also we're going to show you some examples of the food that we ate this year. And also share a little bit about our home for the week at the Agrivilla. And we're also going to explain like the current status of the trip. We are nearly sold out. We're a small trip, of course, so it's easy to sell out, but we're going to give you more information about that and also let you know about the early bird pricing that will be ending soon. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the chat there. We might wait until like maybe to the Q&A before we answer things, just so that we can get through the main content easily. What do you think, Wanda?
I think that sounds great. And also we have Lynn with the National Health Association that's background, and she'll be answering some of the questions on the chat as we go along.
Yes. All right. Marq and Wanda, what do you do on this trip?
Well, Marq is looking forward to going. He was supposed to go with me last year, and our daughter was in a car accident right before the trip. So I did it by myself, and he was the great dad that stayed behind to help her. This is a photo overlooking, and Bridie, say the town.
San Gimignano. It took me so long to get it.
Which is such a lovely town. I can't wait to have more time to explore it. And the beauty of where we stay is you can walk there within 20 minutes. It's a great place to visit. And even sometimes just coming back from one of our excursions, the buses go by there. You can get dropped off and then just walk back down the road to our villa. I can't think of a better place to be based for our travels.
Lovely. Okay, so this is Seb and I, Sebastian, Seb, and we're the co-founders of World Vegan Travel. We've been running luxury vegan group trips for vegans and vegan curious since 2017, before, well, I quit my job as a teacher in 2019 to work full-time on World Vegan Travel. And before that, Seb was doing a lot of work in TV production, which, as you can imagine, includes a lot of logistics, a lot of planning, a lot of organizing. And I worked in the education field. I worked in international education. And actually, Seb and I both met when we were both tour leaders for another company back when we were when I was in like my late 20s. So we've got quite a lot of experience, both in travel and tourism, and also in, complementary industries, let's say, to hopefully give our travelers a really lovely experience. And I think you and I, Wanda, we've been talking to each other for like 18 months or something like that, and about the possibility of working together to offer land-based offerings. And we seem to be a good fit. So we sort of started planning things. We've run a trip in uh, Tuscany this year, and we've got 2 sold out trips at the end of next year to Cape Town, Botswana. And after you went to Tuscany, as you already said, you really wanted to go back there again. So we're going there next year. So next year we'll have 3 trips together, which is wonderful. And we've got lots more in the pipeline. So Seb and I, we've lived in 7 different countries, and we've been ethical vegans for 15 years. Italy is a very popular destination in our business. We've run 7 vegan trips to Italy. One of those was, of course, with Wanda this year. And this, when we go back next year in 2025, that will be our 5th trip to Tuscany. So, it's a pretty well-oiled machine by now, and it's a lot of fun. So anyway, that's me and Seb. Okay. Wanda, I think you were going to talk to this.
Yeah, this is another slide of us at the Agrivilla, and it's just a beautiful kind of more natural landscape where they're growing all kinds of herbs and edible flowers. And we're the only ones at this Agrivilla, so it's quite a large farm, and it's just lovely to wander through. And on this particular day, the gentleman, I don't know if you can see over here at the end next to Seb, is that Benjamin?
Yes, it is.
And then the gentleman on the other side, is that Lahiri?
Yes.
So Benjamin is the owner, and his knowledge of farming and agro-organic farming is phenomenal. Lahiri, equally phenomenal, and he goes out and decides day by day what they're going to have and picks fresh herbs and fresh flowers. And the farm to table tastes that they create with the authentic Italian flavors is just really blew my mind as somebody who's used to traveling whole food plant-based, and prior to NHA travel, did it in a pretty bland, basic way. And even when we traveled to Italy, I thought it's going to be really nice. I had no idea how much that these places creating meals would give us the authentic flavors of Italy and still stay within our healthy guidelines. And Lahiri does it with so much love that he's a treat, in that in and of itself is worth one of our days, just spending time on the farm. We don't spend a whole day on the farm, but we were fortunate enough that Benjamin gave us a tour and some time, and I'm sure we'll build that in to make sure we get a repeat of that.
I agree. And I think something that strikes me so much about this picture is just the color and the vibrancy. We traveled there in May this year, and we'll be going there in May next year. And I don't know whether we were just lucky with the weather, but it was glorious. I think we had one afternoon with some rain, if I remember well, Wanda, but otherwise it was just this lush green, bright, clear skies, and
sunshine.
Sunshine. Yeah, nearly all the time sunshine. It was just lovely. And Tuscany has this reputation for being very sort of dry and brown. That was not our experience. I guess it's spring and just after winter, but it was lovely. Yeah. Next slide, Wanda.
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay. So I would love to speak to a little bit, just sharing just a basic overview of the kinds of things that you can expect when you're on this trip, the kinds of things that we will be doing. So basically, it's a small group. We're basically staying in a very small I think it's like a 16th century villa. I believe there are traces of it from like even 300 or 400 years before that. But we're staying in this old villa that's been very tastefully renovated, that still kind of captures the traditions of Tuscan farmhouses. And we're going to be in a small group. We're going to be taking over the whole villa, and we're really going to be experiencing the highlights of Tuscany, which is, when most people go to Tuscany, they'll spend a little bit of time in Florence. We'll talk about that, but it's also all about going and seeing the smaller cities, the towns, the villages, and experiencing the countryside. Um, and This is basically what we'll be doing. And of course, eating Tuscan food. And we'll be eating like an adapted version of Tuscan food, which is also very nice. And basically, you have lots of personal attention. Something that I really loved when we had our trip, Wanda, is you and I really worked together in terms of, seeing what our travelers needed and helping meet that. So, you're kind of like a tour leader also. And of course, you're talking with all of our travelers and making them feel welcome and appreciated. And Seb and I do that too. And our job, Seb and I, is to make sure that everything runs extremely smoothly so that you can just really absolutely relax and just enjoy the ride. That's what we always say. We just want you to not completely turn off your brains, but to really just escape from decision fatigue and the mental load that everyday life brings to us. So, that's what I mean when I talk about personal attention. I already mentioned the weather. The trip is all inclusive in nature, in that once we meet you, all meals, activities are included. All tips are included to our guides, so you don't need to worry, oh my goodness, I don't have the cash on me, or what's an appropriate tip, or anything like that. All of that's taken care from you. Again, we don't want you to have to worry or stress. You do that most of the time in everyday life. And also laundry is included as well. So, you don't come home to just a huge suitcase full of washing or have to go to the laundromat. Of course, we have whole food, plant-based, SOS-free food. And while we do use a bus on the tour because we have to get from place to place, we are traveling to rural areas, and public transport is not great for what we want to do. So we do have a bus, but we also really encourage our travelers to get a bit physical if they want to. And we do have a little bit of hiking as well. So we can talk about that a little bit later too. Do you want to
Bridie,
add
can
anything
I
to
add?
that? Yes,
I
go
do
ahead.
want to add that I saw something. I'm having problem connecting, so I can't answer in the chat. But right here's a good time. Judy's asking. She can't maintain a low sodium diet due to somebody just Belin popped it up. So can you speak to that for her?
Absolutely. Uh, the short answer is yes. All of the food that will be served at the table will be whole food, plant-based, SOS-free food. Wanda and I decided that because of this very reason, we would of low sodium and medical issues related to that we would sort of have some salt on the side as well for those people that don't want or need to be consistent all the time. And we will also be offering the regular coffee and wine, and if you olives and things like that. But the food that we'll be presenting to you will be whole food, plant-based, SOS free. I think that's going to become a little clear when I show you like the menus in a little while. But if you would like to add those condiments for your medical issues, you would be able to do that. Is that correct, Wanda?
Right. And aside from being able to add just salt, for those who like maybe a little more intensity of flavor, we'll have some like probably maybe some SOS-free sriracha sauce or some Well Your World seasonings. We do bring some things along that you can add at the table, and that way we still stay consistent with those who want a very traditional whole food plant-based SOS-free. I think you'll be shocked at how few people even use that on our last trip because they just do an incredible job with the local herbs and flowers and their own spices that there is lots of flavor. And then if somebody does need the added salt, they can do that as well. So we're not the food police. We want you to enjoy this. We're confident you will. And if you have any other special requests, you can always ask us about that ahead of time.
Lovely. Okay, so yeah, so I'm just going to quickly go through some pictures of some places that we visit on this trip. Siena is just like about a half an hour drive from the villa, and it's very, very beautiful and very historically significant city, particularly for Catholics, because there are lots of saints and relics and connections here. So this is a really beautiful place, and I think we went here on day 2 this year. We might go there on a different day next year because we're tweaking things a little bit. But Siena is an absolutely beautiful city. You can see this piazza here. It's like extremely large. It's a very strange and interesting shape, and it's quite unique. You don't see the whole thing, but there's this wonderful old clock tower, and of course we have wonderful guides that share with us information all of the time. Not everyone is really interested in all of the history. Some people do like to peel off from time to time and go and do some shopping. We'll talk about that in a minute. But it's really interesting. I'm not a huge history buff, but I always get so much out of it. We also do take a day trip to Pisa, which is, I guess, the furthest from the villa. But because it's such an incredible site, we do go there. This year we went in the morning to Lucca, had lunch there, and then did an afternoon visit to Pisa. This picture on the right is taken from the top of the Leaning Tower. You climbed, didn't you, Wanda?
I did. I didn't know you could go inside and climb up, and it looks a little daunting. It's not.
It's not that high, actually.
Right.
And inside this cathedral here is absolutely magnificent. And the guides, again, they just bring the whole thing to life. This architectural feat is really rather something to learn about. We also mentioned San Gimignano, which is like a 20-minute walk from our villa. And one of the distinctive things about these are these incredible towers, which you'll learn a lot about. I think San Gimignano has the most preserved towers of all of the hill towns. And San Gimignano is actually UNESCO World Heritage Site, so they don't give out those kinds of things willy-nilly. That means there's something good. So it's really worthwhile going, and a lot of our travelers they like to get up really early in the morning, and they would walk the 20 minutes to town and have a little hot drink in town, and then walk back. That was like their exercise for the day, and it was really lovely. But we have a guided visit of this, and then there's also opportunities to go here. There's some good shopping here as well. You can be dropped off here on the way back to the villa and do any bits and pieces that you want to do. So, we do have a little bit of flexibility in that regard because we're a small group and we have our own vehicle. This one, I don't actually have any good pictures of Pienza, but it's basically a little hilltop town, and and as you can see, the views from this little hilltop town is absolutely beautiful. We didn't have a guide on this time because we were only here for a short time, but we might revisit that for next year. And this is a much, much smaller town. So our goal is to try to, share lots of little towns with you, cities, and the countryside, and hopefully we've struck a balance that will work for you. So,
Friday, I'm going to interrupt. Fun
yeah.
fact in Pienza is we have an NHA member that lives there. And she drove into town. She lives on the outskirts and met me and said hi to our group, introduced me to lots of shopkeepers. Her husband was a very well-known artist in that area and has recently passed away. But that was very fun to be in Pienza and meeting with our NHA member.
It was very cool. I met her. She seemed
Yeah.
really lovely, really nice. Okay, and for me, this small hill town really packs a punch. Volterra, you may have heard of it already, especially if you are interested in history. There is so much history going on here in this little hilltop town. You look at this gate here, and you think, oh, those stones look pretty old. Maybe it's Roman. Actually, it's Etruscan. And Etruscan were the people that were living in Tuscany before the Romans. There's so much history. So not only is there the Etruscans, there's also a big Roman period. There's a Roman surprise in the town. I don't want to talk too much about that. And there's just so much Middle Age, Renaissance, and even there's an incredible World War II story that's connected with this gate as well. I don't know whether you remember the details, Wanda. I won't spoil it for anybody, but it's really amazing. And this is Annie. Unfortunately, Annie was unable to be our guide this year. She had an emergency, so we had a replacement. But next year, we hope we'll have Annie. And she's actually an American who's been living in Tuscany for, 25, 30 years. And she is so knowledgeable and such a great storyteller. Just the time flies where you're just listening to these absolutely incredible stories about Volterra, and it's just a really lovely place. There's also a vegan restaurant in this town that we have lunch at, and they did a great job with whole food, plant-based, SOS free this year, and hopefully we can go there again because it was very nice. And other places that we also visit are some country estates and small farms this year. Whether it will be exactly the same, we're not sure yet, but we went. Would you like to explain maybe, Wanda, the place that we had that lovely lunch?
That was my favorite place to visit. There's a well-known family that still owns this country estate and starts with a B. I don't remember his name.
Yes,
when you're in Italy, you hear about his name in Rome. You see
Borghese.
Borghese. It was a Borghese estate, which that in and of itself was pretty cool. And we don't have a picture, I don't think, but behind the wall is a big open courtyard with like a pergola with grapevines weaved through it, and they served us family style. And I kept wanting to get a picture of the table, and every time I thought it was done, they brought out another course. And it was just food that went on for what seemed like forever, and each one has as good, if not better, flavor than the other. And it was just such a fun time to sit around and chat with our friends and what we had already seen. And then this is kind of a private estate, and we were told it opens for weddings and much bigger events. I felt very privileged that they opened and provided such a spectacular, another farm to table style lunch outside in the courtyard. And then we were free to just roam around the estate in the old horse barns that any of us would be thrilled to live in. That's where they host some of the wedding venues. It was just spectacular.
The water troughs for the horses are like a work of art, right?
Yeah, right. You have to be there to see it.
I love it. And another thing that we do is hiking the Via Francigena. We don't hike the whole of the Via Francigena because that is 2,000 kilometers. But basically, it's an old pilgrimage route where people would hike from Canterbury in England to Rome, and one of the stages arrives, and the next one departs from San Gimignano. So we basically do the hike from Gambe Tomasi to San Gimignano, and this is just a really lovely hike. I think most people would be able to do it. It's not very super uphill or steep. There's a little bit of elevation ascent and gain, and the terrain is very easy, I would say. You're walking mostly on gravel paths. You can kind of get a bit of a sense of that here, and a little bit of asphalt, a tiny bit of footpath, but not much. But this is just such a lovely opportunity to get out into the countryside, see some beautiful views, see the farming that's going on, and get out of the bus a little bit. Would you like to add to that?
It just surprised me how many agriturismos we passed. And for people that are hiking this trail, many of them stay there. So you pass these wonderful agriturismos, and like Bridie said, the views are spectacular. You'll pass a few, not a lot, but you'll pass people that have been walking for a week or more, and they're lovely. And there are places we can sit down. There's like little courtyards at a couple places. So there's plenty of places to rest. There was plenty of time to go at your own speed. And I do think just about anybody could do this.
Oh, my screen went blank for a second. I had a bit of a panic. Okay. All right. Yes. So the Via Francigena is very nice indeed. And one day I want to do Lucca to Rome. That's a dream for me. I would love to do that. And when Wanda is talking about agriturismos, basically they're like old farmhouses that allow tourism activities, so you can stay there. But one of the interesting things is that they have to be a working farm. In some way, and they have to meet a lot of guidelines to classify themselves as an agriturismo, of which our villa is one. And one of the interesting things about this is that to become an agriturismo, you have to be a working farm, but you also have to employ certain farming techniques. I don't know whether they all have to be 100% organic. Our villa is, but it also means that you have smaller fields. Biodiversity is encouraged. You don't have this kind of like mass farming that can be in other places in Italy, in many places in North America. So it just kind of looks a little bit more like my backdrop here. These lots of variety, not monoculture so much, small fields, some traditional farming methods. So yeah, agriturismo is a really great program, and it allows these farms the opportunity to earn some money, so they can keep farming that way, and they can earn extra money through tourism activities. I don't know. I think that's kind of interesting. And another really lovely thing about this trip, which really encompasses everything that I've already talked about, is that this trip has so much history and art and architecture. If you like those things, and beautiful countrysides, beautiful scenery, chances are you'll probably quite like this trip, because we have delicious food, but that's not everything. We do experience a lot of the joys of Tuscany as well. Did you want to add to that?
No, it was great to be able to check out so many lovely little towns and villages.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, Wanda, I think you were going to give an overview to the agriturismo now.
All right, so this is the backyard of the Agrivilla Ipini. And we were lucky last year, Marq was there and he was playing the guitar along the pool at dinner time. But it's just the most peaceful, serene setting. And if there is some downtime and you really can sit by the pool, go for a swim, relax in a way you want. And it's surrounded, no matter behind the pool, what you don't see is really where the farmhouse is. But back, if you go up those steps, you're going to be in some grape vineyards. And if you go to the left and down the hill, that's where they do their local farming. And it's just one farm abuts against another farm. And it's just the most peaceful, beautiful, beautiful sounds, beautiful sights. And although it was maybe I would describe it as rustic um, and minimalist, it couldn't have been lovelier.
Mm. I agree, and I think a big part of that is Benjamin and Francesca, the owners of the villa. They're vegan themselves, and they were really sweet. Actually, they actually tried out whole food plant-based SOS free to see what it was like before they had us arrive. So that was really lovely. And at the height of the harvest, 62% of the fruits and vegetable that are served to us on the table are grown on the property. And sustainability is really at the heart of what they are doing. I do think they walk the talk.
Right.
That becomes quite clear. Would you agree?
Yes, and one of the things I didn't mention that I was able to take advantage, they have a massage therapist on site, and you go down into this, what was that room? It was this very small, not a
Your
wine
cellar.
cellar. Was it?
They discovered it when they were renovating. Do you remember the story?
No, I do know that Benjamin, this was it's a very old house and homestead, and it really goes back decades in Benjamin's family.
Mm.
And he came along and was able to reestablish it by purchasing it and bringing it back to life. But I don't remember the story of where the massage was.
So the massage is in the cellar. And they didn't realize there was a cellar there. It was completely filled in.
Right.
And then when they renovated it to turn it into a hotel, they discovered it. So it's just this lovely, lovely, cool place to have massages. I think that's all it's used for at the moment.
And the other thing they do there that really helps is you can sign up when you get there and we divide it amongst our guests and you can have your laundry done. So it really does save. There's no need to pack anything fancy. It's just really us eating at the farm for most dinners. All the days are casual. So I layered, I packed a few sweaters when it got colder. I had a few things if it did get wet, but mostly it's just like spring type casual clothing and very easy to pack and comfortable shoes and you're good to go.
Agreed. Should I go on to the next slide?
That'd be great.
Okay, so I just included this. We had a lovely rainbow when we were there with Wanda this year. This is really like a view from the villa. You can see here how close we are to the towers of San Gimignano, and it's the view's simply lovely for sure.
That really was a photo we took after dinner one evening. It's
Yeah.
not it looks like it could be a postcard that Bridie would just keep on hand, but
No,
it's
all of
not.
these pictures are from our trip, except from the couple of Volterra that I didn't have good ones of. But all of this is from our trip this year. Wanda?
Yeah, that's the beautiful terrace that we ate on most evenings. They have a front terrace as well, but just behind this picture is where that swimming pool was. So the bedrooms are up on those windows you see on the second level. The windows you see on the first level go to inside dining if it's needed. But we ate outside maybe every night, maybe one lunch inside. And it was, you grab a sweater if it starts to cool off after the sun goes down, but it was a great place to unwind and chat about our day.
For me, whenever I come here, Wanda, I don't know about you, but I just by the end of the week I feel like I'm just more connected with the environment outside. It's kind of almost like camping in a way because we're just outside all the time. We're eating outside. We're in this beautiful, peaceful place. Everything's just calm. It's almost like a retreat, but with not.
Yeah.
Wanda,
You
would you
want,
like to speak to this?
I'll start, but you might want to fill in, Bridie. So when I said the rooms were minimalist, this is what I meant. This looks like it could have been the room I was staying in. Really didn't need the netting. I felt secure having it, but I don't remember any issues, any nights that I was concerned. I took citronella wristbands in case that it was a problem. I don't think I ever even used them. It felt good to have them. And every room has a private ensuite bathroom, a bedroom. There's somewhere a closet and a place to unpack a few clothes. And we were only in our room. You'd get up in the morning, go down to breakfast, might run up to the room, pack your backpack for the day, and then you're gone all day and back up at night. But there's so many lovely places around the villa. If I had extra time, I wasn't hanging out in my room. The rooms were fine, but I was just enjoying the view and sitting outside.
And an addition that they had made over the winter season was adding air conditioning to the rooms. We didn't really need it in May. Benjamin and the team didn't really want to add air conditioning because they want people to sort of live in the environment that they're in, and I think for sustainable reasons, but for a number of reasons, because it is extremely hot in July and August, they've decided to use it. But I don't think I turned on my aircon at all. I just was able to have the window open, and it felt lovely. And the only other thing I'd love to add about this is the Wi-Fi situation. So Benjamin and Francesca, they have some Wi-Fi in the common areas, and if you look at this picture, you'll be able to tell. But the walls are very, very old and very, very thick, so it's very hard for the Wi-Fi to sort of penetrate that. So a bit of a workaround that works fairly well is that Seb and I bring phone hotspots that you can join. You can also use the opportunity to just completely disconnect and everything, but we do have those hotspots as well, because sometimes our travelers have a Zoom work call that they absolutely have to do, and I think this would probably be okay for that. But this is just what I wanted to make people aware of. And Wanda, I think maybe you would like to talk about the meals.
So this was, you come back and everything's prepared fresh each day. These were just snacks they set out after we came back. It was probably an hour before dinner. You can see Seb and Bridie bought well bean bars. So you can, if you're not familiar with those, go to our website. You'll see where our members can get a discount. But they're just a nice, healthy energy bar. I always like to have one in my backpack in case I feel like I need something. But honestly, it felt like we were eating all the time. So they set out all these snacks because I kept telling Bridie and Lahiri and Benjamin, I said, I need to make sure you understand we eat large amounts. Are you sure you're going to have enough? And they'd show me plates. And you'll see some plates and you're like, that is not going to be enough food. And so you can order more. But it was enough food. It's just they serve so many different things, and if you want more salad, you can absolutely get more salad. My husband probably could. I'm sure he'll eat more salad than I did. But they had everything I could have expected, and just you can see in the guacamole dish where they just put some lovely flowers on top, and everything is just presented so fresh, so beautifully.
That you raise a good point there, Wanda. The hotel, they're very, very conscious about the waste they produce, and they use very, very high quality organic ingredients. It's a certified organic villa. So for this reason, they don't want to put out big buffets with tons and tons of food where a lot of it will get wasted. So I think that's a big part of their approach to this. So they give us our dinner, and then if you want more, they'll give you some more. So that's I just wanted to add that. Yeah. Okay.
So can I lead off here, Bridie? This is when you come down. This is on the table, and one of the staff will come out and do a lovely job of describing what everything is. But it's not like you pick. They bring everything on that menu. It's all plated very nicely for you. And then after your meal, they'll bring some dessert each day as well. And then they're offering a number of types of beverages. If you want the local wine, you can have it, but they also make a good selection of non-alcoholic beverages that were quite refreshing. So you can have your beverages, you have all of these various options. And if there's just one thing you want another spoonful of, or I mean, it's a small group. It's like going to, you just ask your server, the kitchen's right there. It's like being at home. You'll get whatever it is you asked for. Maybe better than being at home. I don't always get what I ask for.
And then you have to make it.
Then I have to clean up afterwards.
Exactly. Yeah, so this my food photography isn't the best, but I wanted to just show a couple of the dishes from the villa, and just show you like the presentation and the color.
So stay
That's
on this one for a second, Bridie. I seem to remember that first one's a chocolate cake with a raspberry coulis over it that was to die for. But the second one, I don't know if you can tell what it is, but
go ahead.
they slice these beets so thin, and that is beet ravioli. And almost everybody did get seconds of that one. It was delish.
Yes. Wanda, would you like to talk about Latana Bien Conilio?
Oh, right. It took me a second to remember. So this is where the farm sanctuary is, correct?
Yes.
So I felt like this was, we were just driving through the countryside and we pull up to this house and, I don't want to spoil all of the surprises because that's what this is like. It's like something new unfolds every day. But there's a rather young couple or lady that runs this place. It's an Airbnb, I guess you would call it.
Yeah.
And so she served us an amazing farm to table lunch. And then she's also operating a farm sanctuary there. This is where we had lunch. It was that we had two experiences where I thought they were done bringing out. You can't really see it, but at the far end by the oven down there, they had a table set up and they just kept bringing out courses and courses. And in this case, we'd get up and we'd go around to the table and help ourselves to what we wanted. And we had a lovely lunch. And there's some of the courses. That is maybe not half, but more than a quarter. And it was just amazing. So you had big salads and a big pasta dish and bean dishes and fresh vegetables, and they had sauces and dressings. And to go to these different places, and they just understood, don't put salt, oil, or sugar. And there's so many flavors on the farm. It's not like we have almost anywhere else I travel where you're trying to say, yes, you can use basil. Yes, you can use other things just because we say no salt. They just get it. And I'm sure that part of what made it look simple for me was that Bridie and Seb were probably going to these places ahead of time and saying, that Wanda can be pretty mean. You better get this right.
We didn't say that, but we did say that it was very important. And that was a bit of work, but I think all of our suppliers did a great job. I'm so pleased. And this farm, as well as having a farm sanctuary, they also grow some grains, like a whole grain spelt. So this is something that's very interesting about Tuscany, is that ancient grains are very much used. So this was an ancient spelt that they actually made into this lovely pasta right here. And some of our travelers, I think you bought a few bags to take home, didn't you?
I brought quite a few bags. I had the privilege that I brought a suitcase of food because Bridie lives in Canada and there were some things we wanted everybody to have access to, like well-being bars or some of the vinegars. And we actually hardly even used the vinegars because, again, they did such a great job. We didn't need all the extra things we thought we might need. But it meant I had a suitcase where I could buy things, an extra suitcase to bring things home. So I brought a lot of the grains home. It was surprising how many people told me that typically they might have a gluten allergy, but eating the whole grains here was different. It did not affect them.
Yes. Yeah. I think a lot of these grains, they were lower in gluten for sure.
Yeah.
That's what I've people have told me. And oh yeah, go ahead, Wanda.
Yeah, those were just appetizers before we started. And it was like, I could have made a whole meal on the appetizers. It was just fantastic.
Mm. And it's just more about the snacks.
Yeah. Snacks, the spices, and there's always fruit. So, and they did a great job with the fresh fruit. The first picture with the dome, I believe, was even when was all of this in Florence or
No,
just
this was in Florence. Remember, for our welcome
yeah,
meeting, they did a great job with these beautiful, fresh, seasonal fruits.
right. So that's how we started the trip. We met at the hotel, and this is what they provided with us as for us, as well as alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages. And so we had a great chance to kind of meet and get to know each other before we headed off to our villa.
Yeah. And this isn't something that they normally have in the villa, but we ended up bringing a few boxes of avocados to the villa as well, because I know we know that a lot of whole food plant-based SOS-free people really love to have avocados. Is a fantastic fat, so we ordered some and we brought them to the villa. And we
And they
also
were
have
appreciated, right?
Yes, and the idea with these and the well-being bars was that our travelers could pack a few of these just in case they got hangry between meals. So yeah, okay, okay. So I
Yeah.
feel like I've already really talked a lot about this. I think we've already approached. Looking at my notes, Wanda, I
Mhm.
think that we can move on to the next slide.
Agree.
The thing I think that I just would like to highlight for potential travelers who might be interested in this trip is that as travelers, we're really sort of embracing the Italian lifestyle on this trip. So, as you will have seen, you know, there's these beautiful long menus, multi-course menus, and while we don't want to be spending all of our time eating, we want to be going and doing things too. There are like a couple of slightly longer leisurely lunches, and dinner is, you know, a 90-minute affair where we do just like Italians do. We enjoy each other's company and appreciate and are mindful of what we're eating, and it's really nice. Do you want to add to that, Wanda?
Yeah, I would just say I don't remember what time we get started, but breakfast is, not too terribly late. And then
Yep.
there's so much to do all day, every day. We get back, or dinner's probably what, 6:30,
I
maybe
think
7,
7. Yeah,
7
that's very
o'clock.
Italian.
But we're gone all day, and we have our snacks if we want something ahead of time. We eat our dinner, and some people maybe chose to eat just a light part of dinner and retire very early, and other people would sit around talking. But for the most part, I'd say everybody's going to bed by 9:30 because
Mm,
we have another big exciting day the next day. You're outside in fresh air, and
yeah.
it just worked lovely.
So I wanted to just share a couple of the feedback from three of our travelers. This is Jennifer. Jennifer was a solo traveler that joined us, and well, she was such a lovely person and just brought so much to our group dynamic, just so sweet and kind. And I think something that she really appreciated was, you know, she's interested in like herbal plants and alternative medicines, so she really enjoyed hearing what Lahiri had to say. And you know, I think she had a nice time. Do you want to add anything to the
Yeah.
Jennifer
I
slide?
forget, she is a treating practitioner in the medical field, and I forget if it was homeopathy, I think. So
Mm,
she really did have knowledge and appreciated all of what was being provided for us.
yeah. And this was Marq and his partner Tom. Again, just we have the loveliest people. What can I say? Just it's so interesting getting to know your fellow travelers, and I love getting to know our travelers as well. And Mark and Tom, I mean, they were just so much fun. They had been to Italy several times. I think it was like their home away from home. It was like their default holiday destination. And as you can see by Mark's amazing sweater, that they're both super stylish, and they had a real eye and appreciation for the aesthetic, and they embraced the shopping opportunities, I think, didn't they? And picked up some super purchases, even in the small towns that we were going to. You can find some fun purchases if you want to. So that was very nice.
And you point out that Mark is holding a pizza. So the building behind our guest is
Oh yes,
a pizza oven. And so they made fresh pizzas using the grains on the farm, and hopefully we'll be lucky enough for something extraordinary like that again.
And the last one is Eric and Tammy. I think Eric has traveled with you a few times, or he has some upcoming trips on cruises, and he goes to your conferences a lot, right?
The conferences, they've come to our camping trips. Yeah.
Nice.
And he had been studying Italian, so this was a dream opportunity, and they really had been studying. He was quite proficient.
Yes. And I don't know whether you remember this, but I believe he studied art history in college. So he was in his element. He was so excited in Siena, going to the cathedrals and seeing these significant works of art, and having it all brought to life by the incredible guides that we had. He was just such a lovely person to have on the trip.
It's a good chance to maybe pause for a second. And we talk about staying in Florence if you want to do some things on your own. But I had made plans to travel with Mark, and when he couldn't come, I just did the same trip on my own. And we had planned 3 days in Rome. And so it was very easy to fly into Rome and take the high-speed train to Florence and meet up with our guest. And because Jennifer was traveling by herself, everything I had booked gallery tours and various things in Rome, and Jennifer had not. She was going to wing it, so she just took Mark's ticket, and I had a wonderful travel companion. Took the train to Florence, and then met up with. I still had a couple of days in Florence, so I would encourage you not to miss out while you're in that region to explore some other areas.
Florence is really such an incredible city, and a couple of people, some of our travelers, they had some success with getting some whole food, plant-based, SOS-free compliant food. And maybe that's something else that I should add, is that we do have a Zoom Q&A about a month before the trip, so that we can all sort of meet each other. We also have a WhatsApp group where you can ask questions and meet up with fellow travelers before the trip, and contact me and Seb if there's some sort of problem. So we hope that you arrive at the trip having a bit of a sense of your fellow travel companions already. Okay, all right. So would you like to speak to this? I mean, this actually needs to be changed now.
This is today, and it's outdated. We've had 2 more people book, so there are 3 rooms left. And like it says, 2 of those still could be single rooms. So I think it was Judy had a question. And yes, there are currently 2 single occupancy rooms. It is a $500 additional supplement to go as a single, which is really phenomenal. If you've traveled as a single person, I think you'll agree. That's a nice way that they make it available. And Bridie, some other people were asking about the cost. I don't want to misstate anything. Is now a good time that you can discuss that?
I think I can. I might just show people. Can you see that? Can you see the website? Okay, great. All right. So I'm going to just show people like how to navigate this, because it's a lot of information and it's a lot of money. So you want to make sure that you can kind of get your head around it a little bit. So this is our website, World Vegan Travel, and you can scroll down and you can see the trip here.
Right. I was just wondering if Phelan's able to scroll the website, because at the bottom of our page, she may or may not be able to. It's pretty small here.
Oh, okay.
But if you Google, there you go. Beelin's great. She can do anything. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's okay. So this is like the page dedicated to this particular departure. And one thing that you might see is that the early bird discount is going to be ending soon. There's a little countdown, and you've got the dates here. You've got the total trip price, and we've got an early bird discount, like I already said. There's a $500 single supplement. We have 2 rooms that are available as a single supplement right now. Otherwise, the other rooms are doubles. There's only, and the one twin is sold out. So you can see the start point is Florence. The end location is Florence. So we meet you there and drop you off back there, either at the airport or at the train station. And you scroll down a little bit, and then here you have just a little bit of an overview of the trip, basic some important information like the group size, the status of the trip. We do hope to be confirming the trip very soon, and certainly before this date. I expect us to be able to confirm this trip very, very soon based on the fact that we've had some additional bookings. And this goes over what's included, what's excluded. There's some photos there. There's the itinerary here. So we might tweak this a little bit, but it's not going to change drastically.
Oh, Bridie, before you scroll below the
Oh,
itinerary,
yeah.
what I didn't realize right away, as you get to the itinerary, you can click on each page and
Oh,
it'll
yes.
give you details for the day. So it is really well thought out with lots of information.
Yes. Yeah. So there's a lot there. There's a lot there. And then here is some important information regarding to like the cancellation policy. Very important because we do have quite a strict cancellation policy, but there are some ways to mitigate that. I won't go into that right now, but if anyone's interested, they can send me an email or request to come on a call with me. The payment schedule is all on there as well. So if you look through all of that and you think, oh, that sounds kind of fun, I'm in, you click on that book now button. And then this is just our payment platform we travel that we use. And let's say you were 2 people, a couple that wanted to share a large bed. You would choose, because there's 2 of you, you would choose 2, and then this would explain what was the amount due to make a deposit. If the trip isn't confirmed, and I think it's going to be confirmed literally within days, if the trip was not confirmed for some reason, you would get that refunded back to you in its entirety. When this trip is confirmed, we will, we'll request 2 other payments. What else can I say about this? So I'm in Canada, that's why this says CAD, but if you are in US dollars, you can put this and you can pay by either bank transfer or credit card. Credit card is more expensive with fees, but some people, they really like to pay by credit card for that extra protection. And also some credit cards do offer some sort of trip cancellation policy as well. So even though it's more expensive, some people do like to use credit card. But if you have any questions about that, you can let me know. So if you go ahead.
Bridie, I just want to kind of insert here because it has come up before. And I've really, as Bridie said, I worked like for a year talking to other people who've worked with their other travelers, learning what they offer, learning that I really do trust the business model they have. And after traveling with them, I wouldn't be booking further NHA travel if I didn't completely enjoy and trust their business model. But I am not going to call them and ask them to change their business model. I'm comfortable with the way it is. She's very upfront about the cancellation policy is stricter than what you'll see when you cruise with us, when you're going with an international cruise line. I've watched, they do have to put significant payments down to secure these kind of amazing places that I don't think we'd get any other way. So I just ask people to respect that, make sure you understand it, buy the insurance that feels appropriate to you, because if you call me and ask me to override their business, that's very uncomfortable. I'm not part of World Vegan Travel. I partner with them to provide these excellent travel opportunities where they will work with the vendors. They actually call me. I worked with the vendors for the year before we went, and it's a team effort so that everybody understands our needs and we have quite a successful trip.
Thank you, Wanda. Yeah. I'm an open book in terms of these kinds of things. Read the booking terms and conditions carefully. If you have questions about how you can mitigate risk by buying insurance, cancel for any reason, insurance is available in all but 4 states in the US. It's a pricey policy, but it will allow you to cancel for any reason, and you'll get 75% of the money back. So it's pretty good. So yeah, these are some ways that you can mitigate the risk of travel. Travel is a high risk thing. Lots of things can go wrong in the lead up to your trip and during your trip as well. So we want to make
My
sure that
husband
you're
was the great
protected.
example. Our daughter was
Yeah,
hit by a car 2 days before the trip, and
yeah,
we were prepared for that, so it worked out
yeah,
okay.
exactly. So I think I've talked to everything on this slide. So I guess it's a few questions. If
Yeah,
anyone has any questions,
can I start at the top and then we can
go ahead.
go more? So, Plant-Based Dallas, I think, is Diane and Pat. So sorry I forgot them. I'm looking forward to traveling with you. I know you're both booked. I see Susan from the Villages. The NHA has reached out and work trying to provide more information and more education to the villages. So Sue, if you want to get back in touch with me about that, I'd love to talk some more. I see Julian and Donna from New Jersey. That's fabulous. And I think, Sue, you asked, is this a YouTube channel that we can subscribe to? So when you go to healthscience.org and you look at the different tabs at the top, I think it says NHA TV. That is our YouTube channel, and there is a whole library of information. We'll be posting this on that YouTube channel. So if you know anybody that missed the information, you can let them know that they can rewatch this, or if you want to just confirm something you may have heard, you can go back and check it out there. Megan and Chris, I'm glad you're here. Absolutely love to travel with you. Hope we're traveling again soon together. Sue, I'm thrilled you're going to Scotland and Ireland. Can't wait for that. NHA, we are just so blessed with some incredible travel opportunities. And Connie, we'd love for you to take the trip too. So let us know if you have any questions. And Cheryl, you're signed up for the one that I'm most excited about, because the French Polynesian trip is the only trip that 300 people on the ship, and the entire ship is whole food, plant-based.
That is crazy good.
And so that's just a once in a lifetime opportunity. I don't have anything in the foreseeable future where we're going to be able to accomplish that again. So it's just going to be fabulous traveling with Dr. Furman and many people that follow him, as well as so many NHA members. And I guess I'm going to take a minute before I turn it back over to Bridie and just say our URL one more time, and V-Lynn could perhaps scroll it, but it is healthscience.org. If you're not already a member, our membership is only $35 a year. Many people think that that's a mistake. It's not. It's been $35 a year since, I think, the 70s. We just want it to be accessible to everybody. We have a travel page. You can get more information about this trip on that travel page, as well as everything else we have in the works and more to come. You get access to our Health Science magazine. So it is clearly a bargain. If you sign up and find it isn't, you can give me a call and we can talk about that, but I've never had that happen. So we are a nonprofit, and it is through our membership, that we are able to keep this organization going. I think it might be the oldest whole food plant-based organization out there, having been founded in 1948. So we're very proud of our heritage and the educational things that we've accomplished. And in the last 5 years, to be able to add travel and to work with people like Bridie and Seb. So with 3 rooms left, I suggest anybody that is interested, if you have questions, reach out to Bridie. You can reach out to me. My email is whuberman@healthscience.org. You can find it on the website. Bridie's has been posted in the chat session, but we're ready to sell this out and start a wait list. And if anybody has any questions, we're still watching the chat. You can let us know. Bridie, any other thoughts?
I don't think so. If anyone wants to scan to get to this URL, they can just scan here, and I'd be happy to receive calls. We can book a call, or you can just try and call me. I am in Canada, so for most of your audience, I think it would be an international call. So just be aware of that. And I would say I'm pretty responsive on emails as well. So feel
And
free to
WhatsApp.
reach out.
Also WhatsApp, right? Can people get
Yes,
you on WhatsApp?
you can call me on this number on WhatsApp as well. So if you want to just take a quick picture of the screen there, and then you can call me on WhatsApp. So for sure, that would be free, and you wouldn't have to pay.
Well, I know I speak for Bridie and myself. We're so thrilled that you all took the time to join us and learn about this. And we look forward to meeting many of you soon.
Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.